So, Jess, today I want to talk about something that I think is really important. There's a lot of things brewing out there. As you know, um, there's a lot of legislation out there that's aimed to
Mhm.
support patients, right? And to make things easier for patients. And I thought, why not talk about something that's really important that has been put forth.
Welcome to PatientRx, a podcast led by women working in healthcare and living as patients ourselves. This is where we amplify the patient voice, taking on tough conversations and uncovering issues no one else is talking about. Now here are your hosts, Jessica Krauser and Tina Voll.
It's actually called HR 2484, also known as the Seniors Access to Critical Medications Act. Have you heard of this?
I haven't, and I know you brought it up before, but
Wow.
the name is not great, but that's okay.
Yeah, I know, I know. So,
Can we call it something else? Because it's more than just for seniors, right?
correct. I think the implications are more than just for seniors, but it's been put through specifically for Medicare D patients,
Hmm.
and it's really has been called the Convenient Act. Kind of been folks out there calling it the Convenient Act. The other thing that you may hear is the Stark Law. It's the
Huh.
Stark Law. Act or the Stark Law legislation. And I think that there's something here that we really need to talk about. And let's just maybe take back a second. So you as a patient, you've never
Yeah.
heard of this, right? And
No.
so imagine if you're a patient on medications that require a lot of care, a lot of
Mhm.
monitoring, and now all of a sudden some of that care and monitoring goes away. So let me take 10 steps back. Let's talk about this bill and why I think we should talk about this is so this bill, HR 2484, is a bill that essentially is going to proposes to open up dispensing for physicians. Right now, and what that means is for physicians to be able to mail prescriptions to patients.
Where are they getting it from?
They would buy it directly from the wholesalers and the distributors.
So where's the pharmacist?
Exactly is what
They're
I
bypassing the
correct.
pharmacist?
Correct. That's what this bill proposes. So um,
That's not
that's
what they went to school for.
okay. Okay, so this is why patients need to know about this. This is what's so scary for me as a patient, and I'm going to talk about some experiences for me. Let's talk about the big deal here. This legislation was put forth because they want medications to be easily accessible for
Who's they?
seniors. Um, our lawmakers.
So this bill was put together by lawmakers, not like by an advocacy group or anything like that?
It was a combination. So
Okay.
there is advocacy groups that are have put forth this legislation and have
Mhm.
been really pushing for this for a very long time. And there are some legislators who are in deep support for this because to them this is a way for to make medications more accessible and convenient to patients, and specifically for Medicare D patients. Now, what I sit back and I think, okay, that's actually great, right? Like, and I think, what's the big deal? Yeah, it makes it better for Medicare
Yeah.
patients to get their meds. The doctor gets it. But the
Yeah.
scary part is now the doctor becomes the dispense they diagnose, they'll prescribe, and they'll dispense the medication. And to me that just screams financial incentive.
Well, wait a minute. Okay, so when I'm in the hospital, and I just was 3 different times, they the doctor would prescribe a medication, but they went down to the pharmacy downstairs at the hospital,
Yeah. So
and then they came back up with the medication. So is there going to be a pharmacist at the doctor's office?
no, this legislation does not require that.
So how is that even?
Exactly. So this is so let's dive into this, right?
Okay, wow.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly the reaction I had as a patient. Um, right now, the Stark law prevents physicians from referring to services that they have a financial incentive in.
Okay,
And part of that is the prohibition of them mailing prescriptions to patients. So they cannot mail prescriptions to patients. Now, if they're utilizing it in their office, like an oncologist office does, then they are able to do that. But the Stark law prevents them from mailing prescriptions to a patient because they have a financial incentive.
right.
What this bill is proposing is to amend the Stark law to carve out the section that says they can now mail prescriptions to patients. And the kicker, what really worries me is um, they only have to see the patient once a year in order to do that. And then they can mail the prescriptions to a patient for an entire year.
Do they ever follow up?
There's no the details are missing in this regulation.
I mean, I'm on Flip and Go Covery. It's a mantidine, which is not that severe of a drug for Parkinson's, and it goes through a specialty pharmacy. And they probably called me like every month for the
Yeah.
first 4 to 6 months,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Has
Yeah.
anything changed in with your prescriptions?" Because with chronic illnesses, there's constant changes,
Yeah.
so they're not. Wow.
Yeah. So um there's no the details aren't there in the bill that
Hmm.
require them to have certain things. And so, why should we as patients worry? Right now we get our medications from a pharmacy, whether it's a regular pharmacy, specialty pharmacy.
Hmm.
The medications that we're talking about in Part D is really it was pushed by a lot of the oncology advocacy groups because they wanted oral oncolytics specifically for physicians to dispense it. But the bill, as it sits now, it doesn't just say oral oncolytics, it's all medications. So we're talking immunology, MS, rare orphan, including oncology. It's just too wide. And what it doesn't require is for physicians to have a pharmacist there. Um, and if you think about right now, right, see, this is the reaction that I can't wrap my head around this.
Oh, like all I can think about is like when my sister, she worked, she was a farm tech. I think that's what they're called. She wasn't a pharmacist, but she like would put the pills in like the bottle, and she's like, you're filling, so many during the day, and she's like, and there's like this double check or triple check thing that they have to do. She's like, because if you give somebody the wrong thing or whatever, like
Right,
it could be a dire situation. So it's like, how is that not going to happen here?
right. And if physicians have a financial incentive because now they're referring to their own pharmacy or their own in-house dispensing, then there is a potential for, I think, over prescribing, which,
Oh yeah.
right. And of course our lawmakers don't want that, but I think it's going to happen because um, there's going to be financial incentive here, right? And then the other really critical part is right now pharmacies and specialty pharmacies specifically. What are specialty pharmacies? So for our listeners, specialty pharmacies are these pharmacies that have um, a lot of they dispense high touch medications, and with these high touch medications it requires a lot of care, a lot of monitoring. It also requires specific dosing and counseling. So, specialty pharmacies have these experts that essentially manage a patient. Um, if we take this back to the physician's office and a physician dispensing and only having to see the patient one time in the year, and they're not being held to the standards that a pharmacy does, then the things that I'm worried about is, will the patient have 24/7 access to on-call pharmacist or nurse?
Right. I mean, is this going to go to the manufacturer and to the manufacturers? Are they well aware of this? Because, like, if
They're
I
all,
had a
yeah.
question,
And so they're all aware of it, right? And what so from a pharmacy perspective, 24/7 access if there's a side effect, if there's a problem. Um, Specialty pharmacies provide specialized education. Let's be honest here: physicians' offices barely have time with you in the office for an office visit. How
yeah.
are they going to provide specialized education on these medications that require just hands-on management? And then complex storage. We haven't even touched the storage situation here.
Yeah.
A lot of these medications require temperature control. They require being shipped under temperature control. They require being shipped in specialized packages. And the big thing that, if I was a patient who was getting dispensed out of a doctor's office, insurance and copay cards and being able to
Oh
find
God, I didn't even think
foundations.
about that.
Who's doing that? If the doctor's office right now does not have time to see me, and there's a backlog and it takes weeks to get into a specialist's office, how are they going to dispense these medications and manage the
Mhm.
patient appropriately? We all should be worried.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. And it just doesn't make sense for like why you think you can cut out a whole job or position or whatever. And
Yeah, so specialty pharmacies now, it's really important to know that they are accredited. They're licensed by the state boards.
Mhm.
They are accredited by third party organizations. They go through rigorous audits and assessments. And a lot of that is around patient safety. A lot of it is
Mhm.
around medications and how the medications are stored, how the medications are delivered. It's also a lot around counseling the patient and educating them on the
Mhm.
appropriateness of the medication and how to manage it. If that they are taken out of this equation and doctors are allowed to ship to the patient,
Mhm.
where does the patient get this? And
The-
you and I both know, I know this. There's physician practices out there that keep their medications in a cabinet,
uh-huh.
and it's the storage, who's maintaining the storage.
Yeah. This just sounds like a train wreck.
Yeah. And
How
I'm
close is it to being passed?
so it's already passed in April. It passed the Energy and Commerce Committee.
Okay,
It
so at least it's still kind of early. Like it
It's
only
still
it passed.
early. It has not. It's going to go to vote on the House floor, but and I think soon. I don't know when, but it is going up for a vote. I think we have to talk about these issues, and if the bill does not outline how some of these things will be figured out, right? Storage,
Mhm.
24/7 access. Will they help patients navigate
Yeah.
some of the barriers?
How
Then
do you get
we're in
ahead of this?
trouble.
How do you start like and not necessarily for the House because then once it's in the House then it goes to go to the Senate and then ultimately get signed. But
I think
um
so. That's why we're here today. I think we carry the patient voice, and
uh
and I think that we have got to make patients and others aware of
so
this.
I know like the NASP is there anything that are they doing anything like do they have a government policy? arm?
They
Like,
do, and they are working through some things with their policy arm,
mhm,
and I'm not sure where they are with that. For
mhm.
me, because I'm looking at this as this is not good for a patient, and the
No.
importance of us talking about it and raising the alarm and the red flag of we're making decisions in a vacuum.
Yeah,
Our government is looking at this as, oh, this is convenient, and it will
right.
be better
Right, like,
for the patient.
when you say it just, like, off the cuff, it's like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense," like, for people who don't have access or, like, specialty pharmacies aren't everywhere and they're not
Right.
close, kind like that there's, like, what do I wanna say? Like, certain situations, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's like to open this up and
Right.
make it it's like you're making people who would already likely do bad things able to do more.
Yeah, what I don't like is the financial incentive around this. I'm going to give an example of a couple of things and why I just feel very strongly that physicians should not be dispensers.
Mhm.
We need to keep that separate because not all physicians are bad actors. I just want to be
Right.
sure that's not the case, but there are situations where physicians are, and so we have got to ensure that this law does not allow the bad actors to rise up and allow them legally to do things that is not going to be in the best interest of the patient.
Yeah.
I'll give an example of something and how this could relate to just patient care and what's right for the patient. When I was
Mhm.
going through chemotherapy, um, and well, actually, so for myself, when I was going through chemotherapy, after chemo, 48, 72 hours, they give you a growth factor so that your bone marrow doesn't bottom out. And
Mhm.
there is a product that they could simply just put on your body, and then it does a countdown. And then after the countdown, it auto injects and the medication is delivered. Um, my physician's office at the time wanted me to come back after chemo 2 days later to get the injection in the office.
Mhm.
And I said, whoa, I'm not doing that. Like 2 days after chemo, why? I'm not going to drive an hour to go get an injection by your nurse when all you have to do is put this device on.
Mhm.
And they said that they don't normally do that because they just have patients come in. And because I'm in the industry, I really understood why, right?
Mhm.
Nobody spoke it, but I understood why. The injections are biosimilar products, so they make a tremendous amount of money. Plus, they get to bill for the visit and the injection by the nurse. The
Mhm.
device is just simply me picking up a drug, and there's no billing. It goes billed to my pharmacy, and they just put it on me, and there's nothing outside of that. So they didn't want to do that because I clearly understood the financial incentive here. Now
Yeah.
I pushed for it and I said, my insurance covers it. And the first answer to me from their in house pharmacy was, no, they don't, because we routinely get rejections on this. I'm like, oh, no, no, my insurance covers this. I know they cover it. You need to go try to get this approved. And sure enough, there wasn't a fight, there wasn't a denial. They just simply had to put it through my insurance. But so that's example one.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to take another example, same type of situation. My dad's going through cancer treatment now,
Mhm.
and the my father unfortunately is now wheelchair bound. It is an incredible challenge to get him out of the house into the infusion center. And this NCI certified cancer center will not put the device on my dad. They have him come back to get the injection. And
Mhm.
it is a policy of theirs to not use the device. Now, there's many reasons they've given me why they won't do it, but I think that it is, to me, incentives, right? Like we think about they're
Mhm.
making more money on the injections, and
Yeah.
um, I I think that it takes away patient choice, because once the physician's office starts dispensing, the physician's office is not going to say, "Oh, by the way, you still can go to the pharmacy where you're getting all the other
Right.
stuff. You still,"
Right.
right? My choice as a patient gets taken away. And
Mhm.
that's why I think this bill as it sits has been written in a vacuum.
Yeah.
There's just not enough protections in place for patients. There's not enough protections in place um, for us to continue to have patient choice,
Mhm.
and the handling of the medications, the storage, the shipping.
Yeah.
I, who's doing this? Is somebody just pulling it off the shelf and then labeling it? What if they did it
Mhm.
wrong? Like, where's the accountability? Right
Mhm.
now, state boards are, you get licensed, and if there's a medication error, you have to report it. And there's this whole process.
Yeah.
Where is that process if a physician does the dispensing? This bill does not talk about any of that. It simply just
Mm.
says we want to amend the Stark law that allows physicians to dispense medications. And they didn't even like carve it out to say oncology only. It's just everything. So you asked about manufacturers. So yeah, let's talk about manufacturers, right? I think what will happen is if this law gets passed, manufacturers will then go and contract with provider offices, and then they will start contracting with provider offices. And if there's incentives that they put in with providers' offices,
Mhm.
now you've got another incentive because you've contracted directly with a manufacturer. And
Mhm.
I think that it's going to increase prescribing.
So there's so many angles that we can go with this, and I am like just still trying to digest all of it. But I mean, this is very interesting, and I love the fact that I'm in DC right now for Parkinson's Parkinson's policy forum. I can't even think um, this week, but I definitely want this to be something. Obviously, you're going to continue to follow it, but like that we
Yeah.
continue to follow and that we can follow
Yeah.
up on, and maybe even just they talk about. I know we do this for the Parkinson's community. We always have like letters that go, create like a standard template letter that you send out to advocacy individuals, and they can send it to their state politicians and to
Yeah.
educate them, because not
Yeah.
everybody has the knowledge that you do on this very topic. But this was very informative, very scary. I appreciate you bringing it up to the
Yeah.
forefront, and it just makes me think how many other things are going on that we're not really aware of. So
Could you imagine your neurologist dispensing your medications and managing it?
no, no. I
um,
mean, well, like, yeah,
it's
but
scary.
for mine, it's not. Yeah, I mean, because honestly, I asked the pharmacist so many questions.
I do
Like,
too. I'm on an oral oncolytic, and I talk to the pharmacist all the time.
yeah.
And I mean, look, doctors are fabulous, but um, doctors are also very limited in their time. And quite often, it's not doctors that would be, it's going to be office staff that will be
Mhm.
doing
Oh,
this.
yeah, absolutely.
And and
And it's
and
just
that,
putting more on them.
yeah, it worries me. Right now, you have certified pharmacy techs, you have nurses, you have pharmacists
Mhm,
at the specialty pharmacies who are equipped to take care of patients with complex diseases and complex
mhm.
products. Why are we trying to change what's not broken?
Right.
I think our lawmakers are misinformed. Um,
Mhm,
and I think that we've got to get this message out to more patients. I think all of us have to be more informed of these laws that
Absolutely.
will affect us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, I think that's a great closeout in that we have to be more informed
Yeah.
as individuals and as people. But yeah, I am heading to a meeting now here,
Okay.
so super excited for that. But this was again scary but very informative start to this conversation, and I'm glad we're at the early phase of it before it even gets to the house, because I think there's probably hopefully still a lot that we can do or can be done, and not just us,
Yeah.
but like the
Right.
patient advocacy group. So
Yeah. So
more
if
on this.
you're out there listening to this, you have questions, reach out and
Yeah,
let's see how we could get our voice put into
yeah,
this bill.
absolutely.
All
All
right.
right. With that, we will see you all next time.
Yes. Yes. See you next time.
As you just heard, the podcast between Jessica and I just wanted to close out and say, as a patient myself, I am deeply concerned about how this bill could impact millions of people across the country. This is not just a policy, it's about our lives and our safety. Patients need a seat at the table before HR 2484 moves any further. This is the first of many conversations, and I'll continue to keep you informed every step of the way. Please follow us to stay updated and make sure your voice is heard. Contact your lawmakers, contact folks in Washington and talk to them about this concern. Together, hopefully, we could stop this bill from passing the way it's written now and put in some more safety elements for us as patients. So follow us, stay informed, and reach out if you want to talk and see about ways in how you can get involved.